I've closed thousands of dollars in B2B deals myself and helped our clients add millions of dollars in the pipeline. And the biggest mistake that I see most founders make isn't actually lead quality. It's how they run the entire sales process from A to Z. So today I'll break down the three things that actually help you close B2B deals, especially if you're used to referrals or inbound and you now need to sell properly. Let's get right into it. First thing I need to understand is that the deal is won before the call even starts. What do I mean by that? As soon as someone books a call with you, they should get pre-call flows and pre-call reminders that showcase your expertise and showcase how the process works of whatever service or product you're selling, as well as case studies that you may have. And on top of this, people will research you before the call. People will be like, okay, who am I hopping on a call with? Like, who is this guy that I'm hopping on a call with? Let me look up his name. They'll look you up on LinkedIn, they'll look you up on YouTube, they'll look you up on Instagram. And if you have a social media presence on there, you are much more likely to close a deal than if you don't, right? So before the call even starts, you should be sending out social proof. Okay, here's what I've done in the past before for other clients or other customers. Here's how the process actually works so you understand what exactly the call is going to be about. And also, I have YouTube channels, and you can even link this in your social media. You can even link your social media in the pre-call flows of YouTube and LinkedIn. That way people can check you out if you have content on LinkedIn, if you have content on YouTube, if you have long-form content on YouTube, if you have content on Instagram, right? Whatever your target market is or wherever they lie, but more than likely for most of you watching this, it'll be YouTube and LinkedIn. But overall, what I'm trying to say here is that like people will check you out before the call, and the deal is literally won before the call even starts. I'm not saying you can't close if you don't have these things, but it'll make it so much more easier. It'll make your life so much easier. People will show up in the call and you'll have to do less sales work. You have to talk and handle objections less. It'll just be a lot easier, right? When you have social proof, when you are sending reminders before the call, when you break down the process, and when you're on social media. That way people can look you up, they see that you're everywhere, and it's just like this entire spider web worth of things that people can just be like, okay, this guy's on here, this guy's on here, this guy's on here. Oh wow, there's this case study that he has, and it's literally makes your sales process so much easier. You'll close more deals, and you need to do this absolutely before the call. And a lot of founders don't do this. A lot of people are like, oh, just use my calendar link, I'll book a call with you, and that's it, right? To illustrate my point, I'll tell you a story. So we worked with a client in the past. Their name is Deep Social Brands. We actually helped them add like 270 grand in 8 months. Now, before we actually ended up, in the first 4 months of working with them, I believe we booked them a few calls and we got them a few deals. I think the workflow, don't quote me exactly on this, but here's how it worked. The first 4 months of working with them, I believe they only closed like 4 clients, which is 1 client a month, which is not bad, right? And then what ended up happening was they were like, okay, Ari, you're booking us calls, but the thing is, I'm just having trouble closing deals. So they went out and they brought in like a full-on funnel expert. And what the funnel expert did for them was he helped them make pre-call flows, pre-call reminders, VSL, all that stuff to send before the call. As soon as they implemented this, I kid you not, they went from 4 clients in 4 months to the next 4 months being 8 clients or more. It was insane. It was night and day difference. It was like his close rate jumped up by 50%. It more than likely wasn't. We just booked up more calls, but that's also because the landing page and website was better. But on top of this, when they got on the call with them, he was able to close easier and better. Just like that, he went from 4 clients in like 4 months with outbound to literally 8 in 4 or more. It was insane. And that's what I mean by saying the deal is won before the call. If you have this, it'll work out super well. Second, you have to run the call around their pain, not your pitch. So a lot of founders I see, they get on the call, they're like, oh, here's how our software works, here's how our demo works, here's how we can get you more leads. They don't actually ask them like, hey, why are you on this call? Like, what made you want to hop on? What have you tried before? What have you done before? How did that work out for you? Are you open to trying something like this and trying this again, right? You have to go deep on their pain. Ask them questions on why it matters to them. So if someone is like, yeah, I want to get more leads. Well, okay, why do you want to get more leads? Like, obviously, new business is always great, but do you have like a reason? Like, oh, well, for the New Year's, we're looking to grow, and by the end of Q1, I want to get to $1 million a month, let's say, right? And then what you can do is you can extract that golden, because they've given you now a golden nugget that you can just tie into the pitch itself. And you can be like, okay, well, you want to get to $1 million a month, got it. And then you keep going, you keep going. You want to ask questions. Like, the way that you should think about it is you should be like a curious child. Like, what? Okay, why do you say that? Why is this important? Oh, what happened before? Oh, why did that happen? Or why do you think this happened? Why do you want to get to that number? How did that go for you, right? And you want to just keep asking questions, go deep on their pain and ask them why it matters to them. So for example, what I did, and when we were selling stuff like lead generation systems, is I'll ask people like, okay, well, you know, obviously we do lead generation and you want to get more calls booked. Is there a specific amount of calls that you'd like to get booked every single month? Obviously, everybody wants to get to unlimited. They want amazing numbers, but is there an amount to where you're like, okay, Arian, like if you got us X amount per month, we'd be happy. And usually people will be like, yeah, like 15, let's say. Yeah, 15 calls a month, that'd be great. Okay, 15 calls a month, gotcha. And then whenever I go to my pitch and I'm like, okay, here's how our cold email system works, and we do this, and this, blah, 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 blah. And when we do all of this, we'll get you to that 15 calls a month, right? So you're tying it specifically to their goal. And again, I can go very deep on this, but the discovery process is the most important process that you need to have. Like the discovery matters a ton. You need to get out all the information out of them. And when you especially get them to explain their pain, you get them through the pain cycle again, right? They're gonna be talking, and they'll be like, yeah, we tried this before, it didn't work. We tried this before, and you're like, as they're saying it, they're like, damn, I've done a lot of stuff and it hasn't worked, and I'm trying to get to this. And subconsciously in their mind, they're like, fuck, I want to get to this amount, but like I can't really do anything, right? And the biggest thing that I need to understand when it comes to discovery is just let them talk. Like, let them talk. You should not be talking that much. I believe I don't know what the sales standard is, but a good rule of thumb is like they should be speaking 70% of the call. You should be speaking like 30. So, or even less, honestly, like 80-20. But either way, just let them talk a lot. Let them talk about themselves, talk about why they want this, and then you can tailor your pitch into it. Another thing I learned from an old sales coach of mine is like, it means everything if they said it, and it means nothing if you said it, right? So if they're like, oh, Aryan, I want, 15 calls a month, and right now I'm at 1 call a month. And if I'm like, yeah, wow, you're only at 1 call a month, like, is that good? Like, are you happy with that? Like, that's not good, is it? Like that type of stuff. Like if I label them as something, or if I'm like, yeah, that you're not gonna get the Q1 stuff, you're not gonna get to your Q1 goal of 15 calls a month, then it doesn't really mean much because I'm saying it. But if they say it, and if I get them to admit it, and if I ask a question like, yeah, well, okay, you're at 1 call a month and you want to get to 15. Like, do you think that'll help? Do you think you'll get to your Q1 goals? Obviously, the answer is obvious in your head, but they'll be like, no, it won't. And letting them admit it is a lot better. So that's the second thing. I can go really deep on this all day, but run the call around their pain, go really deep on the discovery, and it should be fine. The third thing is you want to handle objections before you drop the price. So here's how the actual pitch works. Once you've gotten the discovery, once you've gotten all the fucking ammo that you need, you then want to be like, okay, well, let me explain to you how the process works. And then you go into the pitch. You're like, okay, first we'll do this, then we'll do this, then we'll do this, right? So make it super short. The pitch does not be insanely long. Just make it go like boom, 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 boom. Here's what we do, here's what we do, here's what we do, right? And then specifically, once you're done with the pitch, a short pitch that it has, I recommend like no more than 2 or 3 minutes. But after you're done with that, be like, okay, well, that's how the process works. Do you have any questions about the process specifically? And you say process specifically. Don't, because the reason why you say that is if I just say, do you have any questions? They'll be like, oh, yeah, what's the price, right? But if I say, do you have any questions about the process specifically? Then they're not gonna ask you about the price. They're gonna be like, yeah, how does this thing work? How does this work? And then you handle the objection, you answer the question, right? Educate them. So you ask that, pitch the process, and then ask them specifically, do you have any questions about the process? Then after you've done that, be like, okay, well, gotcha. So that's the entire process. And after hearing all this, on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being like, this is exactly with 1 being, I don't know what this guy's saying, and like this guy's a bit shady and I don't want to do this, and 10 being absolutely, this is exactly what I want and exactly what I need, where do you think you lie? And just be quiet, right? Then they'll say maybe 7, right? Once you give them 1 to 10, they'll say 7. After they say 7, you can be like, okay, well, why not a 0? And then they'll be like, yeah, well, the reason why it's not a 0 or why not a 1 or the reason it's not a 1 is because this good thing about your product or service, this good thing, and basically what you're getting them to do is like admit all the good stuff about your product and service, right? And then you be like, okay, awesome. So that's the reason why you're not a 1. Well, why not a 10? And then they'll be like, yeah, well, I've tried this before, or this has happened, and this is, and then you can just handle the objection there. So it's so brilliant. Like literally, if you say 0, why not a 1, you'll get them to admit all the good stuff. And then if you ask them why not a 10, you'll get to handle any objection they may have before you drop the price. Then once you handle the objection of all those 10s, you can be like, okay, well, got it. So the investment itself is $10,000 silent, right? So the entire process itself, when you go into the pitch, is like you pitch the process, you ask them, do you have any questions about the process? Then you go for the 1 to 10 stuff, and then you handle any objections, and then you drop the price. It's so much easier. It's so much seamless, and I promise you, it'll close more deals. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's how I close deals, B2B deals specifically. For my agency, and I've closed thousands and thousands of dollars worth of deals. This works really well if you're like a founder, any type of agency or B2B, just B2B sales team in general. And especially if you've only relied on referrals or inbound, which is good. That means your product or your service is superb. But eventually, when you get to the point when you want to run outbound and when you want to run, let's say ads, you're gonna have to learn this stuff, right? So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you found this video valuable. And if you are a B2B founder who wants more sales calls on their calendar fully done for you, and you're making over $30,000 a month or more, click the link in the description, and we can talk about potentially working together so that you can get more leads in your calendar. So with that being said, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace out.